Well, Conservation International has sponsored a series of videos that have become YouTube sensations. They feature famous actors from Kevin Spacey to Harrison Ford to Robert Redford who give voice to the various elements of nature. So Harrison Ford is the sort of rumbling voice of the ocean, and Robert Redford is the voice of redwood trees. But the most striking one, I think, is Julia Roberts, who gives voice to Mother Nature herself. Now, the point in all these videos is basically that nature does not give a darn about us. Nature doesn't care a fig for human beings. And I'll read you a couple things here from Mother Nature's speech. I've been here for 4.5 billion years, 22,500 times longer than you. I don't need you, but you need me. I love this. I have fed species greater than you, and I have starved species greater than you. And finally, my oceans, my soil, my flowing streams, my forests, they can take you and they can leave you. So the thing is, when I first saw these videos, someone sent them to me, and I thought, oh, just a lot of, tree-hugging extremism. But I'll confess that the more I watch them, and they are well made, they're intriguing to watch, the more I thought, no, these are right. These are right. And more to it, they're making a not inconsiderable theological point. I remember the first time the radical indifference of nature really struck me. It's many years ago. I was giving a retreat to seminarians on the North Carolina coast. During one of the breaks, I actually went out into the surf, like just up to my knees maybe. And I'm looking out at the beautiful scene, the water, and then there were dolphins swimming and all this. And I was just exulting in how beautiful it was. And then I turned for a moment to look back towards shore. And just like that, this giant wave came up and it hit me from behind and it knocked me actually to the floor of the sea. And for a few very disturbing moments, it actually kind of pinned me to the ground. And it was all over in a couple seconds, and I'm back up on my feet. But I remember thinking, wow, the nature, the same nature that so beguiled me with its beauty one moment, the next moment almost killed me. And so, my flowing streams, my mountains, they could take you or they could leave you. That's absolutely right. That's the way nature is. And you know who knew this very well? The ancient people with their gods and goddesses. You look in the mythology of the Norse people or the Greeks, the Romans, and so on, Babylonians. The gods and goddesses are personifications of the natural necessities. So whether it's, Poseidon symbolizing the sea. Well, Poseidon one moment smiles on you, the next moment he'll sink your ship. Zeus symbolizes the sky, the atmosphere. One moment it's beautiful and serene. Next minute, a thunderbolt will come and kill you. Demeter maybe stands for the earth, and it's rich and provides you food. The next minute it becomes an avenging enemy. Well, they knew that. And we read those stories, which is why the worship of the ancient gods and goddesses was a very dicey business, because you were always dealing with what's finally a capricious and unpredictable and finally indifferent reality. Now here's the thing, and why I say this is of theological significance. The Bible represents something altogether new and different. Go back to the very opening verses of the book of Genesis. As God, the Creator, brings forth earth and sea and planets and stars and everything. Well, every one of those elements at one time in the ancient world, in some culture, was worshipped as divine. Think of people that worship the sun and moon, they worship the earth, they worship the sea. All these natural necessities are coming forth, but mind you, coming forth from the Creator God, which means in the very act of creation, God is dethroning them. He's saying they're not divine. These things are impressive, they're beautiful, God calls them good, fine, but they're not divine. They're not there to be worshipped. They're there to be recognized as part of God's creation. Furthermore, the Creator God is not like the ancient gods and goddesses because he's not like the natural necessities. The Creator God is rock-like in his fidelity, in his steadfast love. Could a mother forget her child? Even if she forgets, I will never forget you. I've carved you in the palm of my hand. All this biblical revelation coming to its climax in the claim that God is love. Now see, notice, we're not dealing with Zeus, Poseidon, Demeter. We're not dealing with the natural necessities, which are impressive but dangerous. We're dealing with the finally reliable God, the God of love. And that makes all the difference. This positioning of the classical gods. Look at St. Augustine in his Confessions, a great passage where Augustine imagines all of the natural elements coming before him, all the things that were essentially worshipped in the ancient world. And they all say to him, look higher, look higher, look higher. In other words, don't look to us as your God. We're not your ultimate concern. Look higher. And then together in a great chorus they say, he made us. There's biblical religion. It's the Creator God, not the natural necessities, that are the proper focus of our worship. Now here's what's interesting to me. There's classical Christianity, from the Bible through Augustine into the High Middle Ages. Everyone knew this. At the turn to modernity, something gave way. And one of the culprits, in my view, is Baruch Spinoza, one of the founders of modernity. Spinoza, who made this little move, he said, Deus sive natura. That's Latin for God or nature. They mean the same thing. So God for him, he was a pantheist, basically, that all of nature, the whole universe that we can take in, that's divine. Deus sive natura. That's precisely what the Bible doesn't say. It doesn't say God or nature. It says nature is a creature of God. See, that makes a huge difference. Now, look who follows from Spinoza. You get Friedrich Schleiermacher, who's the founder of liberal Protestantism and liberalism in both its Protestant and Catholic expressions. Schleiermacher says God is the infinite. God is the totality. I mean, he's explicitly indebted to Spinoza's pantheism. Take a step now into America, and after Schleiermacher, you get someone like Emerson. Emerson's idea of the oversoul, which is the same kind of pantheistic view. Take a further step into the 20th century, and you see people like Joseph Campbell, who then influenced George Lucas, the maker of the Star Wars movies. And what do you find but the Force? The Force. What's that? Well, it's the zoom of energy that runs through all things. But look at the Star Wars movies. They're very clear on this. The Force is both good and bad. There's a dark side and a light side to the Force. It can be used positively, it can be used negatively. The Force in itself doesn't give a fig for us. It just depends on how you use it, what dimension of it you're employing, right? It's very much, in other words, like the natural world. It's like nature, beautiful, impressive, can be used for good things, and it's dangerous and capricious, and fate doesn't care about us. What I find troubling is, right from Spinoza through George Lucas, there's this strain of pantheism that is repugnant to biblical religion and is really dangerous because it's inviting us back to a worship of things that shouldn't be worshipped. See, if you make Mother Nature your goddess, I would recommend watching the Julia Roberts video, because you make Mother Nature your goddess, you are giving your life to a very capricious and finely cruel and indifferent lady. Which is why I think, in the funny way, though I'm sure they didn't intend it, but in their funny way, these videos featuring these actors voicing nature are actually saying, look higher.